Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishate.
Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate
Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishate.
Translation?
The Supreme Personality of Godhead is perfect and complete, and because He is completely perfect, all emanations from Him, such as this phenomenal world, are perfectly equipped as complete wholes.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribo, Lance tuned in. Hare Krishna, Lance. Haribo.
Hare.
Today is celebrating what? The appearance of Lord Ramachandra?
Yes, Ram Navami.
Ah.
Is that what it's called? Or Navami?
Nomi, yes.
Navami.
Yeah.
And it's also some places I heard something about a Vedic New Year, a Hindi New Year that happens in April. I never knew that.
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe it's like the different dynasties. You know, dynasty of the moon, the dynasty of the sun. So, depending on which way you look at the calendar, it's Happy New Year. So I think Ramachandra is the dynasty of the sun. Anyway.
Oh, so...
I'm just looking at it. I don't say I'm authoritative.
No, I know.
I'm just trying to look at it.
Okay.
So...
We're speculating.
By some... Yeah.
We're trying to figure it out.
Krishna, help us. So, I guess which of the calendar you're looking at. It's New Year's.
Okay, I'll have to look back on... Try to find out the answer to that. Why don't you know? You're older than me, you're supposed to know.
I do, but I forgot.
Okay, that's fair.
So what is this?
We have chapter 10 of the 9th canto, part 2.
Translated by?
A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. His Divine Grace.
Okay.
This is Lord Ramachandra. The pastimes of Lord Ramachandra. The pastimes of the Supreme Lord Ramachandra. This 10th chapter describes how Lord Ramachandra appeared in the dynasty of Maharaj Katvanga. Is that his name?
It's good, yeah.
Okay. It also describes the Lord's activities, telling how he killed Ravana and returned to Ayodhya, the capital of his kingdom. The son of Maharaj Katvanga was Dirgabahu, and his son was Raghu. The son of Raghu was Aha, and the son of Aha was Dasarath, and the son of Dasarath was Lord Ramachandra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When the Lord descended into this world in his full quadruple expansion as Lord Ramachandra, Lakshman, Bharat, and Satrugna, great sages like Valmiki, who were actually in knowledge of the absolute truth, described his transcendental pastimes. Srila Sukadeva Goswami describes these pastimes in brief. Lord Ramachandra went with Vishvamitra and killed Rakshasas like Maricha. After breaking the stout and strong bow known as Haradanu, the Lord married Mother Sita and cut down the prestige of Parshuram. To obey the order of his father, he entered the forest, accompanied by Lakshman and Sita. There he cut off the nose of Surpanaka and killed the associates of Ravana, headed by Kara and Dushana. Ravana's kidnapping of Sita Devi was the beginning of the demon's misfortune. When Maricha assumed the form of a golden deer, Lord Ramachandra went to bring the deer to please Sita Devi. But in the meantime, Ravana took advantage of the Lord's absence to kidnap her. When Sita Devi was kidnapped, Lord Ramachandra, accompanied by Lakshman, searched for her throughout the forest. In the course of this search, they met Jatayu. Then the Lord killed the demon Kabanda and the commander Bali and established a friendly relationship with Sugriva. After organizing the military strength of the monkeys and going with them to the shore of the sea, the Lord awaited the arrival of Samudra, the ocean personified. But when Samudra did not come, the Lord, the master of Samudra, became angry. Then Samudra came to the Lord with great haste and surrendered to him, wanting to help him in every way. The Lord then attempted to bridge the ocean, and with the help of advice from Vibhishana, he attacked Ravana's capital, Lanka. Previously, Hanuman, the eternal servant of the Lord, had set fire to Lanka, and now, with the help of Lakshman, the forces of Lord Ramachandra killed all the Rakshasa soldiers. Then Lord Ramachandra personally killed Ravana. Mandodari and other wives lamented for Ravana, and in accordance with Lord Ramachandra's order, Vibhishana performed the funeral ceremonies for all the dead in the family. Lord Ramachandra then gave Vibhishana the right to rule Lanka and also granted him a long duration of life. The Lord delivered Sita Devi from the Ashok forest and carried her in a flower airplane to his capital Ayodhya, where he was received by his brother Bharata. When Lord Ramachandra entered Ayodhya, Bharata brought his wooden shoes. Vibhishana and Sugriva held a whisk and fan. Hanuman carried an umbrella. Satrugna carried the Lord's bow and 2 quivers, and Sita Devi carried a water pot containing water from holy places. Angada carried a sword, and Jambavan carried a shield. After Lord Ramachandra, accompanied by Lord Lakshman and Mother Sita Devi, met all his relatives, the great sage Vashishta enthroned him as king. The chapter ends with a short description of Lord Ramachandra's rule in Ayodhya. I was thinking this morning about Lord Ramachandra and about the births of the human form births that Lord Krishna takes, and how devastatingly horrible his circumstances are. He gets banished from his kingdom and rejected by his father as Lord Ramachandra. to please a secondary wife. And as Lord Krishna, his 7 siblings are murdered horribly. And then he gets taken away and raised by surrogate parents. And we think sometimes we have it so difficult. Look at the difficulties he puts himself in. So we shouldn't think it's so difficult. I mean, to understand, for self-realization, I mean, you can't say that I don't feel what I feel, but you follow my train of thought?
Yeah, he's appearing as a human being, and so human life is not easy.
Right.
So he's appearing as a human being. Yeah, we see that with Jesus
But
also.
most difficult. Not even, you say human life is not easy. No, but most difficult. So
Well,
extremely difficult. Or extremely
Krishna's
heartbreaking.
always extreme in everything.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
If it's going to be difficult, it's going to be extremely
difficult. That's his nature. That is very
Right.
true.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
you see that
sweet.
With Jesus also,
Right.
They don't like the message of Godhead, so extreme punishment,
Right.
Yeah, it kind of goes with the territory.
Yeah.
Yeah. Krishna.
That is very sweet.
You know that mantra, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram,
Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram,
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram,
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram,
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram,
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram,
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram,
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram,
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram,
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. That's right where we stop.
Oh, you left the thing in there.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe let's read a few verses. Maybe there's some purports.
Okay.
Prabhupada will tell us some stuff here. I'm going to skip the Sanskrit.
Okay.
Unfamiliar territory here. Text 1. Sukadev Goswami said. So this is Sukadev Goswami.
Uvacha.
Yeah.
That's the few words I know in Sanskrit.
Uvacha.
It's Uvacha.
And it stops there.
Krishna Uvacha.
So Sukadev Goswami Uvacha.
Yes.
He was.
I'm sure.
What did he? Sukadev was. He had just heard the Bhagavatam from his father while he was in the womb of his mother.
Right.
And when he heard the message of Godhead about the Supreme Personality of Godhead in this Bhagavatam, the minute he was born, he took off.
Right.
He was already a fully formed adult. He took off.
That's because he stayed in the womb for many years, right? That's Sukadev Goswami?
Yeah, he didn't see any reason to
come out, right. But we won't go. That's a story for another time.
He heard the Bhagavatam, and he took off, and he ended up wandering into the assembly where Parikshit Maharaj was about to die.
Ah, to hear the Srimad Bhagavatam again.
The last of the Maharaj Parikshit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he had assembled all the great personalities there to what is the duty of a person who's about to die.
Right.
That was the question. I know my death is coming in a few days. I have that. I know. So what is the duty of someone who's about to die? That was the question. And the sages are all there, and they have their different perspectives, and this one and that one, and they're all great sages, well versed in the Vedas. But Sukadeva Goswami wanders into the assembly, and he happens to be completely naked, and he's in a complete trance of ecstatic mood of Godhead. Doesn't care about anything. He's fixed on God, and he's followed by a bunch of ruffians. They think he's a madman. So they're throwing things at him, and they're laughing at him, and throwing rotten tomatoes, whatever it is they're doing, and they're having a great time. And he's in ecstatic trance. And he wanders into this assembly where Maharaj Pariksha is sitting there with all these sages. And the minute they all see him, they know, okay, this is Krishna's, or this is God's arrangement. This man he's not an ordinary person. They put him on the Vyasasana. And so he answers Maharaj Parikshit's question, what is my duty? What is the best thing I can do before I'm going to die? And he says, you need to hear the Bhagavatam. This is everyone's duty. And of course, we never know when we're going to die, but he knew. So that was the first question that got this Bhagavatam spoken.
Right.
Is what is the duty of someone who's about to die? That was the question. And this whole 12 cantos and more is the answer. So here Sukadeva Goswami is talking to Maharaj Parikshit. He says, now he's telling them about the appearance of the personality of Godhead when he appeared as Ramachandra. And he says, the son of Maharaj Khatvanga was Durgabahu, and his son was the celebrated Maharaj Raghu. From Raghu came Aja. From Aja was born the great personality, Maharaj Dasarath. So there's the lineage. It goes, like 4 or 5 generations. Being prayed for by the demigods, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth himself, directly appeared with his expansions and expansions of expansions. Their holy names were Rama, Lakshman, Bharata, and Shatrughna. So Lakshman, Bharata, and Shatrughna, they appear as the brothers of Lord Ram. These celebrated incarnations thus appeared in 4 forms as the sons of Maharaj Dasarath. So again, it's the demigods. They're praying. They need help. It's probably explained a little more detail in previous chapters why they're praying. They're praying for the appearance of the Lord, so and he appears. And in purport, Prabhupada says, Lord Ramachandra and his brothers, Lakshman, Bharata, and Shatrughna, are all Vishnu Tattva, not Jiva Tattva. That means they're directly expansions of the personality of Godhead. They're not just like his energetic expansions. They're actually him, himself. The Supreme Personality of Godhead expands many, many forms. Advaitam, Achutam, Anadam, Anantarupam. Although they are one and the same, Vishnu Tattva has many forms and incarnations. As confirmed in the Brahma Samhita, I'm going to let that go. It's some Sanskrit I don't recognize. The Lord is situated in many forms, such as Rama, Lakshman, Bharata, and Shatrughna, and these forms may exist in any part of his creation. All these forms exist permanently, eternally, as individual personalities of Godhead, and they resemble many candles, all equally powerful. So you got one candle, you can light lots of candles, and the candles are all burning, and they are equally.
Right.
But they came from one candle, but it's all candles. Lord Ramachandra, Lakshman, Bharata, and Shatrughna, who being Vishnu Tattva are all equally powerful, became the sons of Maharaj Dasarath in response to prayers by the demigods.
My turn? Okay. O King Parikshit, the transcendental activities of Lord Ramachandra have been described by great saintly persons who have seen the truth. Because you have heard again and again about Lord Ramachandra, the husband of Mother Sita, I shall describe these activities only in brief. Please listen. Modern Rakshasas, posing as educationally advanced merely because they have doctorates, have tried to prove that Lord Ramachandra is not the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but an ordinary person. But those who are learned and spiritually advanced will never accept such notions. They will accept the descriptions of Lord Ramachandra and his activities only as presented by Tattvadarshis, those who know the absolute truth. In Bhagavad Gita, the Supreme Personality of Godhead advises, just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. Unless one is Tattvadarshi in complete knowledge of the absolute truth, one cannot describe the activities of the personality of Godhead. Therefore, although there are many so-called Ramayans, or histories of Lord Ramachandra's activities, some of them are not actually authoritative. Sometimes Lord Ramachandra's activities are described in terms of one's own imaginations, speculations, or material sentiments. But the characteristics of Lord Ramachandra should not be handled as something imaginary. While describing the history of Lord Ramachandra, Sukadeva Goswami told Maharaj Parikshit, "You have already heard about the activities of Lord Ramachandra. Apparently, therefore, 5,000 years ago, there were many Ramayans, or histories of Lord Ramachandra, or histories of Lord Ramachandra's activities, and there are many still, but we must select only those books written by Tattvadarshis, not the books of so-called scholars who claim knowledge only on the basis of a doctorate. This is a warning by Sukadeva Goswami. Although the Ramayana composed by Valmiki is a huge literature, the same activities are summarized here by Sukadeva Goswami in a few verses."
It was interesting too. I was reading about what was it? Something. Oh man, how these literatures, they're in these pastimes. They've been around for a long, long time. It's like, it was Gajendra. You know, the elephant that got attacked by the crocodile.
Right.
And he was losing strength. He was in the water. He would have been good on land, but he was in water. And the crocodile was winning. They fought for a very long time. And finally, Gajendra realized he was going to lose. And he called out, even from a previous life. He remembered a prayer that he had practiced from when he was a human being, the previous life. And in that prayer, he glorifies Krishna, he prays to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he quotes Bhagavad Gita. And I looked at that and I went, wait a minute, Bhagavad Gita was 5,000 years ago. This was like millenniums. And then I remembered, in the Gita, Krishna says, I originally spoke this to the sun god Vivaswant, the beginning of the creation.
Right.
I'm speaking it to you now, Arjuna, because it's been lost. So it was like, wow, okay.
You remember that?
They were quoting Bhagavad Gita millenniums ago. And that's what we've got. We've just got this Bhagavad Gita from. So when he's saying there are many Ramayans and they've been around a long time, and we have to be careful we hear from the right source. So it's the same with Bhagavad Gita.
Absolutely.
You have to hear the right source. So it's kind of an eye-opener, that it didn't just get spoken 5,000 years ago. It's something new.
Right.
Ramayan's not something new. It's Hare Krishna. It's new to us.
Real knowledge. The yeah.
Yeah, is eternal, unchanging.
Eternally unchanged. Right. And
yeah.
And if you look at different philosophies, I was looking through a book of Chinese fables, and it tells the story of finding a baby in the fish. And there's also a story in the Bhagavatams where some personality was found inside a fish.
And then there was Jonah inside the whale. Yeah.
And so underneath all this,
the floods.
There
Floods
is-
are happening.
right,
The
there is
inundation of the universe. There's a flood. Noah's Ark. There's a flood. Yeah.
but if we're lucky enough to hear it from a bona fide source, then we don't have to go speculating and digging,
Uh-huh.
In hopes of finding, we've been gifted absolute truth by Srila Prabhupada. And
Mm-hmm.
and I'm very grateful. I love how he says, as it is.
Mm.
There's no change.
Mm. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.
And he tells us what he wants to tell us in his purports.
Mhm.
There's
Yes, his spiritual master asked him to do that. He says, especially in English, because it's all over the world, English.
right.
Especially the most influential, powerful, the language, the trade, everything, military, English. So, yeah, and Jai Srila Prabhupada, here it is. The spiritual master finds. Krishna Chaitanya. Oh, it's a big long one, but there's no purport.
Yeah.
Okay. You just want to keep going a little bit?
Sure, I'm right here.
You're not worn out yet?
No.
Have some more brownies.
Okay.
Text 4. Oh, there's some people here. Jocelyn. Hello. Hare Krishna. Yeah, we're just fortunate enough to spend the afternoon, a few hours,
In good company.
hearing and chanting about Krishna. Especially Ramachandra, it's his appearance there today. Text 4. To keep the promise of his father intact, Lord Ramachandra immediately gave up the position of king and, accompanied by his wife, Mother Sita, wandered from one forest to another on his lotus feet, which were so delicate that they were unable to bear even the touch of Sita's palms. Ooh. The Lord was also accompanied by Hanuman, or by another monkey, Sugriva, king of the monkeys, and by his own younger brother, Lord Lakshman, both of whom gave him relief from the fatigue of wandering in the forest. Having cut off the nose and ears of Shurpanaka, thus disfiguring her, the Lord was separated from Mother Sita. He therefore became angry, moving his eyebrows and frightening the ocean, who then allowed the Lord to construct a bridge to cross the ocean. Subsequently, the Lord entered the kingdom of Ravan to kill him like a fire devouring a forest. May that Supreme Lord Ramachandra give us all protection. So the pastime there is it's kind of, what would you call, summarized in that one verse.
In the arena of the sacrifice performed by Vishvamitra, Lord Ramachandra, the king of Ayodhya, killed many demons, rakshasas, and uncivilized men who wandered at night in the mode of darkness. May Lord Ramachandra, who killed these demons in the presence of Lakshman, be kind enough to give us protection.
Jai! Jai!
O King, the pastimes of Lord Ramachandra were wonderful, like those of a baby elephant, In the assembly where Mother Sita was to choose her husband, in the midst of the heroes of this world, he broke the bow belonging to Lord Shiva. This bow was so heavy that it was carried by 300 men. But Lord Ramachandra bent and strung it and broke it in the middle, just as a baby elephant breaks a stick of sugar cane. Thus the Lord achieved the hand of Mother Sita, who was equally as endowed with transcendental qualities of form, beauty, behavior, age, and nature.
About these bows, when they make these sacrificial bows, they don't make them out of, like, you make a regular bow, it's out of a branch. What they do is they make them out of a tree. That Kamsa's bow also, it was made out of, it was 3 palm trees bound together and, to be strung.
Right.
This giant bow, and Krishna broke that. So when they say this giant bow, they didn't just make it. How many? How many?
300 men.
Yeah, there was a tree. They were trees that they would.
And the back shows a picture of him breaking it across his chest, but it's huge.
Yeah, well, it's probably much bigger than that. It was trees. They did it out of whole trees. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
So a sacrificial bow is different than a bow used in combat? Why don't you know?
Yeah, wait a minute.
You're older. Why don't you know?
Well,
but
if
we
you
have
think
to
about it, a bow is what? It's to shoot, right?
Right.
So in ordinary combat, although in those days there was no such thing as ordinary combat, they used mantras, they used who knows what, arrows that would only go to where it was supposed to go, and if it didn't go, it would come back, all kinds of stuff. So in a sacrificial arena, we just read about killing demons and
okay. All right.
It's also meant for destroying enemies, but on probably a different plane, riding around on a horse and shooting arrows. I'm just... No,
that makes sense.
Kind of, sort of, seems like...
We'll have to look into it a little more, but in the arena of the sacrifice performed by where Lord Ramachandra killed many demons, so I guess they kind of were rounded up to be...
The other thing is, when questions are good, because if there's a question, then there's a chance for an answer. Without a question, you don't get any answers, because you didn't ask any questions. So what I find is, if there's some question like this comes up, and then before we were talking about something else that we weren't quite sure, but we guessed at it. Within the next little while, which could be a few hours, could be a couple of days, might be 20 years, who knows? But
you find an answer.
It'll come up. Someone will find it on page whatever in something, and that's what that meant. So,
right.
But to ask the question opens opportunity to recognize when the answer's there, So
and then gives me something to occupy, to light my mind.
Yeah, I think about that.
Krishna, just to entertain myself.
Meditate on that.
I wonder how they do that. Yeah.
Good.
He's so kind like that, Krishna. Always giving me things to entertain me. O King, the pastimes of Lord Ramachandra were wonderful. We went through this.
We're going to hear about Sita now.
Sita, who was equally endowed with transcendental qualities of form, beauty, behavior, age, and nature. Indeed, she was the goddess of fortune who constantly rests on the chest of the Lord. While returning from Sita's home after gaining her at the assembly of competitors, Lord Ramachandra met Parshuram. Although Parshuram was very proud, having rid the earth of the royal order 21 times, he was defeated by the Lord, who appeared to be a Kshatriya of the royal order. Carrying out the order of his father, who was bound by a promise to his wife, Lord Ramachandra left behind his kingdom opulence, friends, well-wishers, residence, and everything else, just as a liberated soul gives up his life and went to the forest with Sita. Maharaj Dasarath had 3 wives, one of them Kakeyi. How did you say it?
Yeah, that's pretty close.
Kakei?
Yeah, that's pretty close.
Served him very pleasingly, and he therefore wanted to give her a benediction. Kakei, however, said that she would ask for the benediction when it was necessary. At the time of the coronation of Prince Ramachandra, Kakei requested her husband to enthrone her son, Bharat, and send Ramachandra to the forest. Maharaj Dasarath, being bound by his promise, ordered Ramachandra to go to the forest, according to the dictation of his beloved. And the Lord, as an obedient son, accepted the order immediately. He left everything without hesitation, just as a liberated soul or great yogi gives up his life without material attraction.
Wow. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I would be so
Krishna, Krishna,
ready
Hare
to
Hare.
accept
It's the
that.
Kshatriya thing, you know. They have so much honor and strength. Like little Dhruva, he was only 5 years old, and I'm going to the forest, you know.
They perform our studies,
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. Hare Krishna, Hare
Going to
Krishna.
talk to the
The
Lord.
co-wife has blocked me from my father. My father's the king.
Right.
Well, I'll go to the forest. I'll find Krishna, and I'll get a better kingdom. Yeah.
I'm going to tell on him.
He ended up with a whole planet.
Right?
But she got there. Where were you?
Right here.
Oh, that's where we start?
That's
Okay.
where we left off.
Oh. All right.
I read the purport.
Oh, okay. He gave up without attraction. Okay. While wandering in the forest, where he accepted a life of hardship, carrying his invincible bow and arrows in his hand, Lord Ramachandra deformed Ravana's sister, who was, poor. Anyway, who was
Cut off her nose.
Yeah, she was attracted in the wrong way. She wanted to cut Sita out of the picture. You don't do that. Okay. Lord Ramachandra deformed Ravana's sister, who was polluted with lusty desires, by cutting off her nose and ears. He also killed her 14,000 Rakshasa friends, headed by Kara, Trisira, and Dushana. Yeah, you know the story, right?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Want to remind me?
Well, I just, I saw the play.
Tell me.
If I can remember. It was John and his husband played Lakshman in the play. Have you ever seen that video?
Yes.
Oh, he did such a great job. He was such a sweet Lakshman. Yeah, they're in the forest, and Sita hears about, Shripanika, Ravana's sister, hears about this Ramachandra, and she wants to go there and enjoy with him. But she doesn't like Sita. No Sita, me, not Sita. It's like what people do with Krishna. Not Krishna, me. Well, she was doing it. Not Sita, me. And you can't have that, And Ramachandra, it always bewilders me a little bit how he did that. Cut her nose and ears off.
With a sharp sword.
Yeah. Why you cut her nose? It deformed her.
See, so it didn't kill her, but it made her very unattractive.
Yeah. Of course, it was the Lord himself, so... but that always puzzles me, why he would do that. Another question. Where's the answer to that one? All right. And then he killed 14,000 of her friends.
Yeah, that's...
All right.
That's a massacre.
O King Parikshit, when Ravana, who had 10 heads on his shoulders, heard about the beautiful and attractive features of Sita, his mind was agitated by lusty desires, and he went to kidnap her. So first, his sister, which probably represents one of Krishna's Maya potencies, she's got to represent some sort of Maya potency, is trying to get him and not her. Now, the brother wants her and not him. So, there we go. I heard about the beautiful and attractive features of Sita. His mind was agitated by lusty desires, and he went to kidnap her. To distract Lord Ramachandra from his ashram, Ravana sent Maricha in the form of a golden deer. And when Lord Ramachandra saw that wonderful deer, he left his residence and followed it, finally killed it with a sharp arrow, just as Lord Shiva killed Daksha. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Now, for Kshatriyas, they were monogamous. He only had one wife.
No.
Lord Ramachandra?
Oh, they're not monogamous. No, they have more than one wife.
Did Lord Ramachandra have more than one wife?
He didn't, no.
He didn't.
No.
So I'm talking about them. Them, Sita, Ram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sita Ram. Radha Krishna.
Yeah.
Ram.
So there's a little proof of loyalty, I think, going on there.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
And wasn't Sita
Now,
found
in
Nepal?
Dwarka, Krishna has many wives.
Yes.
Okay.
That's different.
But
right.
the different pastimes allow for different,
Right.
because of the nature of the
right.
like you say, loyalty
Yeah.
in this pastime. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I meant in just this pastime.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
But Kshatriyas in general, they
Have more than that.
So we don't have very many Kshatriyas in this day and age.
No.
Can hardly take care of one wife.
Yeah, the rule is you can have as many as you want if you can take care of them all.
Good luck.
Right?
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. This is a long one. I was going to read the verse and part of the purport and then toss it over to you.
Okay,
All right?
I'll finish it.
Yeah. When Ramachandra entered the forest, and Lakshman was also absent, the worst of the Rakshasas, Ravana, kidnapped Sita, the daughter of the king of the Deha, just as a tiger seizes unprotected sheep when the shepherd is absent. Then Lord Ramachandra wandered in the forest with his brother Lakshman as if very much distressed due to separation from his wife. Thus, he showed by his personal example the condition of a person attached to women.
Can I say once again?
What?
Can you read that once again?
Oh, read it again. The whole thing?
No, just that last sentence.
Okay. Well, two sentences, they kind of go together. Then Lord Ramachandra wandered in the forest with his brother Lakshman as if very much distressed due to separation from his wife. Thus he showed by his personal example the condition of a person attached to women.
Oh, okay.
That sounds kind of negative, doesn't it?
It does.
Well, Krishna does a lot of things all at once.
It does, but if you're in the human form and something like this occurs, don't take the time and energy to mourn like this or lose yourself in this mourning, because it doesn't, because you'll lose yourself.
Very nice. But he's putting on a display, and he's completely detached, but he's showing this.
As
but he's
one
not
that,
actually. Yeah. Because he's never. Yeah.
That he can't. As one who is attached to women.
He showed. Yeah. He's
Yeah.
showing what happens. Yeah. Huh. For him, it's a pastime.
Yeah, for us it could mean
For us,
millions, and it's a slip.
Exactly. It's here you go, have another birth.
Right.
Or 2 or 3 or 4,000 or a million. Yeah. Okay. Good. Nice.
Yeah.
Wow. Prabhupada's purport. He explains, in this verse, the words Sri Sanginam. Oh, he's probably going to talk about it. Here we go. In this verse, the word Sri Sanginam Gatim Iti, indicate that the condition of a person attached to women was shown by the Lord himself. And that holds true in the word for word. Prabhupada wasn't just saying that. It's actually the word for word has that. Stri Sanginam Gatim.
Okay.
According to moral instruction, Grihe Narim Vivarjayet. When one goes on a tour, one should not bring his wife. Formerly, men used to travel without conveyances, but still, as far as possible, when one leaves home, one should not take his wife with him, especially if one is in such a condition as Lord Ramachandra when banished by the order of his father. When in the forest or at home, if one is attached to women, this attachment is always troublesome, as shown by the Supreme Personality of Godhead by his own personal example. That's interesting. He talks about if a man goes on a tour, like say business, or something. Don't take your wife with you. It's dangerous. Of course, this is the material side of Sri Sangi, but the situation of Lord Ramachandra is spiritual, for he does not belong to the material world. Narayana Parovyakta. Narayan is beyond the material creation because he is the creator of the material world. He is not subject to the conditions of the material world. Because he is the creator, he's not subject to the conditions. The separation of Lord Ramachandra from Sita is spiritually understood as Vipralamba, which is an activity of the Ladini potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead belonging to the Shingaras, the mellow of conjugal love in the spiritual world. We were just talking about that in relationship to Prabhupada, not that conjugal mood with Prabhupada, but that separation. In the spiritual world, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has all the dealings of love, displaying the symptoms called Satvika, Sanchari, Vilapa, Murcha, Unmada. Thus, when Lord Ramachandra was separated from Sita, all these spiritual symptoms were manifested. The Lord is neither impersonal nor impotent. Rather, he is Sat, Chit, Ananda,
Vigraha.
Vigraha, the eternal form of knowledge and bliss. Thus he has all the symptoms of spiritual bliss. Feeling separation from one's beloved is also an item of spiritual bliss. Repeat that again. Feeling separation from one's beloved is also an item of spiritual bliss.
That's what you were talking about earlier.
Yeah. But for some reason, every book I pick up is talking about it.
Okay.
And here it is again. See what I mean? It's like, wow. Yeah. It's, hello. Hare Krishna. As explained by Srila Swarup Damodar Goswami, Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritir Ladini Shakti. The dealings of love between Radha and Krishna are displayed as the pleasure potency of the Lord. The Lord is the original source of all pleasure, the reservoir of all pleasure. Lord Ramachandra, therefore, manifested the truth both spiritually and materially. Wow. Materially, those who are attached to women suffer, but spiritually, when there are feelings of separation between the Lord and his pleasure potency, the spiritual bliss of the Lord increases. So we're right on, because we were just saying this, and now here it is confirmed. Isn't it amazing? This is further explained.
This is further explained in Bhagavad Gita. One who does not know the spiritual potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead thinks of the Lord as an ordinary human being. But the Lord's mind, intelligence, and senses can never be affected by material conditions. This fact is further explained in the Skanda Purana, as quoted by Madhvacharya. It was actually impossible for Ravana to take away Sita. The form of Sita taken by Ravana was an illusory representation of Mother Sita, Maya Sita. When Sita was tested in the fire, this Maya Sita was burnt, and the real Sita came out of the fire. A further understanding to be derived from this example is that a woman, however powerful she may be in the material world, must be given protection. For as soon as she is unprotected, she will be exploited by Rakshasas like Ravana. Here the words indicate that before Mother Sita was married to Lord Ramachandra, she was protected by her father. And when she was married, she was protected by her husband. Therefore, the conclusion is that a woman should always be protected. According to the Vedic rule, there is no scope for a woman being independent, for a woman cannot protect herself independently. It's unfortunately kind of very true.
Hare Krishna.
And on that, I would go seek shelter of my little ashram, unlock the doors.
Krishna.
Don't go wandering far.
Krishna.
That's true.
I know.
That's why it's so funny.
Any relief? Do we have to end on that? Is there any relief?
Oh. I thought that was a perfect place to end.
Oh, my goodness. That was the end of it?
So be careful, ladies, and you be good, man.
Oh, my goodness. Well, we were talking about our situation because, and we're protected by the spiritual master.
Oh, and by the process.
And Krishna.
And more protected having taken birth in this country at this time.
Materially.
Materially.
Yeah.
So that...
Well, the Prabhupada explained, he said not all the women will be suitable for married life because it's the Kali Yuga. For one reason or another, they won't be suitable. So married life is not suitable. So this ISKCON, this in society, is so, this Bhakti Yoga is so powerful that anyone, in whatever condition they're in, can get shelter. Prabhupada, I made a house the whole world can live in.
Right.
So but the preferred path, the one that's recommended, is that a woman have shelter, in a nice social structure.
Right. Well, say
that's the recommended path.
Yes. Well, say there's a reestablishment of Varnashram Dharma, right? So that the farm is actually producing, and you're just an unmarried aunt. So still, you associate, with the children and the parent. Still, you're part of the society and protected within the society. People know where you are. People make sure you're okay.
It's not just Varnashram Dharma. And Varnashram Dharma isn't just farming.
Right.
Varnashram Dharma is a whole big thing.
The whole thing,
it's
right.
The Brahmins, it's the Kshatriyas, it's the whole thing that goes on there. And it's said that it won't happen in Kali Yuga anyway, so...
With the reestablishment of Varnashram.
Not really, no.
No.
Remnants here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah, the main thing is to take up the hearing and chanting. That's anyone can do that. So.
Right.
Yeah, but to know the standard helps.
That's it.
The standard of civilized human life.
Right.
Krishna Prabhupada wanted that to be. He wanted ladies and gentlemen. He wanted as far as possible to live that way. Society be structured as far as possible to be structured that way. Yeah. So who knows? What is it? It's 10,000 years of a golden age in the middle of before it really hits, the Kali Yuga really hits. So maybe they will be Varnashram Dharma. You know, there's going to be a golden age, just like Satya Yuga. Maybe they will for a little while.
Well, I think I know that Rudolf Steiner method of teaching, they lean towards a child's propensities. So if you self-realization, what are you naturally inclined to do?
Not just the birth, what family, but
right. And what they found was great environmentalists and artists. Was the tendency.
Oh, that's what's coming through the pipeline.
Yeah, they kind of.
That's what Krishna's sending.
A little bit one of the others.
That sounds good. I like that. Yeah, that's good.
And, you know, yeah. All I know is I'm definitely not a Vaishya.
Lance, Hare Krishna. Nice reading and discussion. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Jai, Hare Bol.
All glories to Lord Ramachandra. Thanks for joining us.
We're going to go? Hare Bol.